Hi, I'm gonna freestyle the F out of this video. Thank you for clicking on it. Uh, yeah, I have absolutely zero dreams and ambitions. I have zero uh, intention to work towards a specific goal and attach myself to it and call it ambition or force anything in the achievement of that goal. It seems very pessimistic or it seems very apathetic when I say this, because it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean you have no ambition? What is the point of life then? But that's precisely what I am getting at. I am at a point in my life where it has become uber clear to me that we are so limited in our perception of it, and this is not something that is new. This is knowledge that I have always known. I have always known that we as humans are limited in our perspective, but to drive the point home further, we are so limited that I find myself really attaching, and this is an overall, this is a meta view of what I have experienced, and this is not new. We attach ourselves to certain goals, certain dreams, because from where we are standing right now, from the point that the goal or the ambition is made and when it is mapped out, we are so sure that this is what's going to work for us, and we are right. We are right in accordance with every single thread of information that is available to us at the point when we set such a goal, and then we start working towards it as we must. Then if it fails, if it doesn't happen, we lose it. We absolutely lose it. And the root of all of that mental mayhem that we go through is the attachment to how a certain circumstance must turn out. And in my life, so many times, I have come to a point years after experiencing utter disappointment, utter loss, utter trauma from having that loss, to reaching a point where I look back and I'm like, yeah, thank God that didn't work out. And I am not the only person. I am not the only person that this happened to, and I will not be the last. And I know that for a fact. What this means and why this video is even being made is because I think it is about time that I truly surrender and lean into the reframe of my own life and really just go all out in discarding, throwing out every single map, every single projected map, every single attachment, and just be. Which brings me to my next point. I have no thing that I want to say that is what I am going to do. But if there's one thing I know I will do, it is show up. I am going to show up, be available to life, do things that naturally flow through me, do things that have value in its own creation and in the way that it impacts people around me, and just be available to the waves, ebb and flow of life as it comes. So I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do stuff. And where it leads me is where it leads me. Brings me to the next part of why such attachment is even useless, in my opinion, at this point. Because the source of a lot of editing, modifying, masking that I went through in my own life came from such attachment, which I later learned was absolutely unnecessary. You constrict yourself to fit into what you think is right. And in what you think is right, and in doing what you need to do as we define it in the moment as being relevant to what we are working towards, we tend to shave off, we tend to cut ourselves, we tend to expect ourselves to be a perfect, picture perfect representation of what that particular thing requires. And in doing so, sometimes we cross the threshold of the point where self-preservation exists. And we lean into self-abandonment sometimes due to our attachment to such goals, which requires the sacrifice of ourselves, sacrifice of our true nature, sacrifice of our true voice, or whatever else. And my friend, it is not worth it. But F being worth it, because the human mind is still not going to stop at knowing that it's not worth it. But what I have realized that even if you're not able to stop, no matter how much you edit and modify yourself to whatever it is that you are trying to fit into, the reality of who you are will come bursting out, will come bursting forth, and nothing, no force in the universe stops it. I am an ADHD coach, all right? But in dealing with my own ADHD, in navigating through my own traumas, in doing all of these things, I know without a doubt that all of these things lead us inevitably to something greater, to something bigger. Greater would be a wrong word to use. It leads us to something bigger than what I eventually thought it was going to be. I thought this was simply going to be about ADHD coaching. But to stay within that box when I have already transitioned into something bigger, as it feels in my own experience, feels exactly like the editing and the modification that I went through when I was trying to fit into those 9-to-5 jobs that eventually didn't work either. Because that's just how it is, that's just what it is. All this to say that this is the way in which I'm being available to life right now. I have been posting videos on my Instagram, on Facebook, and now on this platform. And I have started to see that there is some value that people are deriving in what I am doing. I get questions, I get questions, and I get appreciation. I love questions I want to address, because I'm not someone who knows it all. Matter of fact, I have come to the realization that I know nothing at all, but I know some things. I know some things just like we all learn some things in our way of life. All right. And in learning some things and in simply speaking about it, it seems to deliver clarity to people in ways that I never thought was possible. But I understand, because this is exactly how I found clarity in my own life. I don't know everything, and I never will. I don't know what the impact of what I do is going to be. I can simply be in control of what it is that I can do. And I have leaned into, and I have absolutely the concept of creating. I have overcome so many addictions to so many different things in my life. And I mean different things, because this ranges from things to places to people to so much more. Okay? And all of these addictions, thought patterns, that too, misery, to all of these things. All of these addictions were truly only a gateway for one thing and one thing only. I was trying to suppress and repress this, because I was so terrified of how I am going to be perceived, so terrified of the long-term effect of doing what comes absolutely naturally to me. But the pain that I try to avoid, in the perceptions that I am trying to avoid, exists nevertheless. In looking at the mistakes too that I have made in my life, I look back and I look at certain things and I am thinking, oh shit. If at the time I knew that this was a mistake and not necessarily aligned with me for my highest good, I would have been paralyzed by the panic. But in making that wrong choice, I was still led to the right path. And by the right path, I mean, in working through the consequences of having chosen the wrong path, I was able to be aligned. Which leads me to believe that there really is no wrong path. And I've always known this. I've always believed this. There is no wrong path. And all paths really do lead to the same thing. So how is this going to be any different? How is not doing this because of what I'm trying to avoid going to save me from anything that I am trying to avoid here? So consider this my official coming out of my own suppression that I have delivered unto myself limitlessly and endlessly for decades at a stretch. This might just be the last video I upload, or not. This might be one of the many million more I upload, or not. I do not know. What I know is that I'm going to be present. I'm going to be present. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to be honest to every single part of me. I am going to be here. That's all. That's all. Thank you.